Episode 274 of the TV Dudes, recorded March 11th, 2020. Is this the real life? Or is it just fantasy?
I'm caught in a landslide, Randy.
So yeah, we are here. We're talking about things that are a little off, a little odd, a little maybe some sci-fi, maybe some dispatches from elsewhere.
That is definitely a little off.
Is it real? Yeah.
And Better Call Saul, which is very real, but also surreal.
Oh, and
But that's not his real name.
That's not his
Really
real
good.
name. It's true. So before we get to all of that, we're the TV Dudes. I am Randy.
I'm Kyle.
I'm Les.
And if you guys haven't heard us before, you want to help us out, you can go over to patreon.com/tvdudes, throw us $1 an episode, and in return, not only do you help support us and our crippling addiction to streaming services.
Oh my gosh, they're getting us.
They are.
I have
how they
one
get you.
I'm going to talk about next week.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you also get bonus content every week. So right now we talked a lot of Star Wars.
Totally just bled that one dry.
And coming up real soon, we're going to have another one of our bracket fights. We just recently posted one where we pit various Goldblum roles against one another.
Yes, all the golds bloom.
To figure out which Goldblum was the ultimate Goldblum. I don't remember, to be honest. It was a little while back when we recorded that one.
I know, I'm trying to remember now. I mean, we had a lot in there. There's a lot of Goldblum roles.
it might have
was
been-
great. The bracket fights are one of my favorite things we've done.
Yeah, it was super fun. We're going to do that again. I think Ian Malcolm might have been high up on that, but I'm not sure. He seems like the obvious favorite, but
Yeah.
he might have gone down to
Can't remember what
Brundlefly.
took
Who knows?
Brundlefly out. Yeah, I'm going to have to re-listen to that episode now.
But anyway, so let's check in. Let's do some old business. Let's talk about what we've been watching. What are you guys keeping up with?
Yeah, no,
Kyle?
so the show that just wrapped that I've been kind of going crazy about.
Yep.
We talked about a couple weeks ago, McMillions over on HBO.
for sure.
Kind of the story about how the McDonald's Monopoly game for years was just totally rigged.
The Texas Lottery is currently launching their Monopoly game, and I was like, bad timing, guys. Bad timing.
Although I don't think it's such bad timing because before I tell you what I think about the show, I've actually gone and ate McDonald's like 3 times since I've started watching this show.
That's the diabolical part about McDonald's advertising. All they got to do, because we're all programmed as kids, all they got to do is show you a fucking quarter pounder. And you're like, must have quarter pounder. Doesn't matter that it tastes like ass.
It doesn't like it's not when you want a burger because they don't taste like burgers.
No, they're not
Or
burgers. They
it's
taste
not
like a quarter
chicken.
pounder.
Yeah.
Even the intro to the show, it shows like the printing of the Monopoly tickets,
Yeah.
and it's the yellow and the red paint. I don't see that. I see ketchup and mustard.
Oh, yeah.
I want a double quarter pounder with cheese.
Yep.
Hold
Yeah.
the onion.
Oh yeah.
But no, this is has a killer first episode and just a really captivating start, and then has held my attention for all 6 of these episodes in this miniseries.
I think I've got 2 left.
Yeah, I didn't even.
Same. Or I think I've only 3 episodes.
Lisa
in,
finished
so.
it out and said that they actually tell you like the sentences that these people got and shit. Like,
Oh, wow.
They really wrap
Oh
it
yeah,
up.
you find out what happened to everybody, and you get a pretty. So like, there's stuff that the FBI won't say, and they tease it through the entire show. We're not going to give up the informant. We're not going to give up the informant.
Right.
And then in the last episode, one of the people in the documentary, they say, "This is who I think the informant is," which really. It's kind of like a Knives Out. Like, if it was just this person did it, it wouldn't be interesting.
Yeah.
But they're like, this person did it, and here's why.
It turns out, weirdly, the informant is Robert Durst. in the biggest HBO twist ever.
Dum dum.
But no, it's really interesting because you find out, like, all the people who were involved kind of led to this one person going, oh, if I inform on it, then I can get exactly what I want.
Right.
And there was this, like, there was this ulterior motive all along. So it had this great ending, and it was just really satisfying when you got kind of the documentary twist. And there was a killer joke in the last episode where they just ended it on a just perfect note. So if you haven't been watching this, McMillions on HBO.
Six-parter, right?
Six episodes.
Yeah, I'm about halfway through. I need to catch up the rest.
Oh, and
Agent
this
Drunk History is my favorite, Doug.
Oh, he's good. He's really, especially in the early episodes where you get to see some of these videos they make, the undercover FBI agents who pretend that they are making the McDonald's promotional videos for the Monopoly winners. It's he's a larger than life character, and all the people involved. You get to see him at the very end, like where are they now? But when you get to the end of it, you realize the most effed up part of all this. Two things. One, the most effed up part about all this is that the marketing company that did the Monopoly game and then the company that printed the tickets, after everything went out, both of those companies went under, and they were huge companies. Lots of
Like
people.
Simon Marketing, I think was the name.
Yeah, Simon Marketing and Dittler Brothers Printing.
Okay.
Yeah, Dittler Brothers.
The Dittler Brothers.
That sounds like a board game company.
Those guys were on Supernatural, weren't they?
Like Dittler Brothers sounds like a knockoff. Like if you're in a fictional world and this is the board game company.
But no, that's the sad part. But the other part is the whole thing about this documentary that's shocking and that makes you want to watch it is, oh, for years we thought we could win the Monopoly game, but, we never had a chance. Well, he stole $25 million worth of tickets. As soon as McDonald's found out, they gave away $25 million randomly to customers.
Oh, wow.
So,
They really kind of went out of their way to make up for it.
And
That's
they say that at the
fucking
very
crazy.
end. But it's kind of like, they kind of evened it out. And one of the threads that they never really tie up is the St. Jude check. Did you guys get there?
Yeah, I got to that.
Yeah, because one of and that is one of the fake ones. I mean, not fake, but one of the ill-gotten ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like you never find out who sent that one or kind
really
of
did
what
that.
what the whole thing was.
That's crazy.
Yeah, which mobster really decided that was something funny he was going to do?
Well, and what's funny is because if St. Jude would have cashed the ticket in, they would have been part of the conspiracy and part of the trial.
Oh, wow.
But here's the thing. McDonald's didn't do that because here's the fucked up part. If you win $1 million, you don't really win $1 million.
Yeah.
Because the government gets some and that gets some.
Yeah, absolutely.
So McDonald's just donated the $1 million.
I'm sure
to
it took the
St.
tax credit. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I feel quite sure. That's amazing.
But
funny.
it's just
It's whoever it was. Basically, they scammed McDonald's into giving millions of dollars to the Children's Hospital.
Guys, I have to tell you, that's not the most shocking part of all this. I posted something on our Instagram today from it. I got all the way to the end of this before I realized it's produced by the same guys who produced Entourage.
Oh my God.
Mark Wahlberg and Levinson.
That's
who produced
crazy.
this?
Yeah, they produced this.
That's amazing. That's just amazing.
Yeah, no, and I didn't find out till the very end. But that should not sway you because this is amazing. Whether you disliked Entourage or if you loved it, this is its own thing and definitely worth checking out.
Yeah, I've enjoyed it so far. So, old business, I've been somehow got to discussing with my girlfriend Fanny that I had never seen 90210, the original. Of all the iterations, I haven't really seen much Melrose Place or any of the. They did a new 90210. They did a BH. They did 90210. Then they did BH 90210.
Yeah,
it's the new meta one.
Yeah.
So we went back and watched just the pilot episode of like Brandon and Brenda landing in Beverly Hills from Kansas or Iowa or where the fuck they moved from. Like, it was definitely an odd blast of the 1990.
I was gonna say, what was that? 92?
1990.
It was literally 1990.
Wow.
And so we dug out a lot of yearbooks and looked back through embarrassing photos and stuff, made an evening of it. And then separately watched a couple of episodes of Degrassi Jr High, which I saw as a kid because PBS aired it for a few years, around 86 or 87.
Can I ask you a question? So you texted about this, and I tried to look it up. And was it maybe called Degrassi Middle School?
So there's a lot of Degrassi series. So there's,
all right, because I could not find this one.
There's Kids of Degrassi Street.
All right.
And that is a lot of the same actors, but they're not playing the actual same character name. So it's not a direct prequel. But they did that show in 78 or 80, early 80s. Then that became Degrassi Junior High, and it's the same actors, but they're junior high kids. And it was really remarkable because they're very young actors, and it's a little stilted dialogue, but they really did a great job of a kids show of dealing with some real shit. One of the first episodes, it's girls 13 or 14 and trying to decide whether or not to have sex, and they deal with all the slut shaming and all of that. Then they went on to do Degrassi High School, And then there's a Degrassi new class, which had Drake on it.
Okay.
And then there's another Degrassi. Like, at this point now, the Degrassi series that is on, I think currently, the guy who's principal of the school is in Degrassi Junior High. Like, attending the school as a 12-year-old, as an actor. Archie's now principal of that school. He's called Snake when he's in junior high. They all have nicknames. So anyway, it was just a weird week of like, what are we going to watch? There's nothing particularly on tonight that we want to sit down and watch on a date, and we just ended up going down this rabbit hole of younger and younger 90s, 80s like teen shows.
The internet.
Degrassi Junior High or any of the Degrassi series, if you had any soft spot for like Nickelodeon dramas or anything when you were growing up, or if your kids now are wanting to watch some like awkward cheeseball nostalgic thing, find some Degrassi Junior High or Degrassi, like the new class with Drake on it. Those are hysterical. I mean, I'm serious. Like, Drake is just an actor on Degrassi.
So for me, I wanted to finish up HBO's The Outsider.
Oh, that's
which just wrapped up. It's I think it was 10 episodes long. And so I binged basically the last 3. And at the last 3, it sort of is the turn. Like, we now know about, I don't know how far you guys get into this.
I finished it.
You finished it, okay.
I think I just did the first and second, maybe.
Okay, so they had by this point they have revealed El Cuco.
The turn they do where they just firmly accept it and start going after it,
Yeah.
I wanted to stand and applaud. I
Yeah,
thought
that was great.
Brilliant writing.
Yeah, they're like, oh, there's a supernatural, and there's only one character still doubting it.
Yeah.
Like, Ben Mendelsohn's character is still like, well, I don't know about this, and his wife straight up is like, look, if you don't believe in this thing, do not go after it because it's going to kill
Yeah,
you.
get out of the way. Yeah, there's some wonderful character moments.
And I thought I love the turn. I love that they were just like, let's go get it, because it does take away some of its power. Unfortunately, in taking away some of its power, I think it robbed the climax of some of its power.
A little bit.
Because I felt like they demystified it a little bit. And so that confrontation with it in the cave, where it's just kind of a dude talking with an echo, it was not the powerful. It was kind of like the end of True Detective, where they find the guy who's been creating, taking all these.
He's just a dude.
And it's just a dude. It's just a dude. And I felt like it was almost that. It was like, oh, you're kind of making it, but it's still just a dude.
The real climax of it, oddly, came at the start of the final episode, like the end of the second to last and the start of the final.
Yeah, when the shootout, yeah, which is.
And that was.
Yeah.
That
was tense as hell.
That really hurt. Like, when you see who gets shot, and there's some kill shots where the effect, they're dead.
Yeah.
And, I mean, there's no argument.
Yep.
I am still so angry at one character's death.
Yeah, me too. But it's the same one.
I'm sure you know exactly who I'm talking about.
Yep.
And I had a moment where I literally looked over at Lisa and was like, if so-and-so dies in this firefight, this is the first 10 minutes of this episode, I'm going to have to turn this off and watch it later.
Yeah.
I'm going to be so angry
Yeah.
but thankfully nothing happened.
Their female lead, who the actress, I can't remember the actress's name. She's in Widows. She's
Cynthia Erivo.
She's phenomenal here.
In everything.
And she's great in everything she is.
I loved her in Bad Times at the El Royale. I loved her in Widows. She's just great.
She's so good here playing a character. I've never seen this kind of character before. And her arc of like her emotional arc, I did not see coming, and I thought was really well done. The sort of weird their detectives bonding thing she has with the lead Ben Mendelsohn character. I thought that was a really great relationship.
What's really interesting to me, I'm a sucker for casual shared universe type stuff, but also different variations on characters. You can go watch Mr. Mercedes, another series that's quite good.
Yeah.
Holly Gibney is a character in that. Like, she is also in Mr. Mercedes. They're also Stephen King books. She's a Stephen King character in several books.
I thought Mr. Mercedes was an Elmore Leonard thing.
No, it's King very much doing an Elmore Leonard thing.
Okay, all right.
It's just true crime. Like, there's really not anything spooky going on.
Okay, all right.
But it's very fun.
Huh. Interesting.
The serial killer starts fucking with a cop.
Huh.
But Holly, that's the series where Holly first starts doing detective work.
Interesting. Okay.
She goes from being like a not exactly victim, but very downtrodden in this family. She gets out of this oppressive situation and comes into her own as this detective.
Okay. Well, that's old business. It is time For Hank's Watch.
Hank's Watch. Da-da-da-da-da-da. Actually, do we have to bring the news segment back
We
for this Hank's
we
Watch?
do have to bring the news segment
man,
back.
yeah,
I
this
think
is
we
sad.
have to send out some well wishes.
We can't mention anybody on podcasts. Whenever a podcast mentions somebody, something always happens.
So just as we were starting recording tonight, we see that Tom Hanks and his wife, Rita Wilson, lovely people, are in Australia and have caught the coronavirus. This is not a joke. It is an article I saw right before we got in here.
Whatever focused prayer, mantra, thinking, meditation, magic you can send out of your brain to help the Hankses, you should do.
Yeah. I mean, they're pretty wealthy. They're in their 60s, but they're pretty wealthy. They've caught it early. They're probably fine, but we cannot lose Tom Hanks in
We
2020
really
people.
can't. I'm telling you, the world is kind of a flaming trash heap shitbag, and we need Tom Hanks walking around.
yeah, I don't even want to joke about this.
No.
Hanks is really in trouble, you guys.
I am 100% serious.
Philadelphia for not Philadelphia for real.
No, but can we put him on Castaway just for safety?
Yeah.
yeah, there you go. Wilson will take care of him.
Right?
So-
Don't touch your face, Wilson.
As you may have remembered from last time, Ed Harris presents the TV Dudes present the TV Dude Top 5. Ed Harris is a lovely man. You see him Westworld. No anger, not angry about his body.
Season 3's going to kill.
His lawyers, Mad Dogs. That season just showed up so
People don't know.
fast.
When he tries to bring up that anger in a performance
Yeah.
or everything, what he's really doing is just thinking like, what would my lawyer do?
Yeah. So as we finished, there was a guy, cease and desist. So we are happy to present Oliver Platt presents the TV Dudes present.
The TV Dudes Power
Top
Rankings.
5.
There we go.
So there was some discussion about this.
Yes.
So last week and the week before, it was TV Dude's Top 5. But kind of the way that we score these shows, the Top 5 doesn't change a lot.
Yeah.
Although that may change this week. So why don't we just check back in on the old shows, or
Let's
the
do
shows
it.
that we discussed last week.
Let's do
Crazy
it.
enough to
And
work.
then maybe we'll do a quick rundown of the top 5 at the end. So last week we talked about Hunters over on Amazon. When you add up the IMDb, the Metacritic, the Rotten Tomatoes, both the audience score and the critics rating, it gets a 260 out of 400. All right. So on our list for this year, it's ranked 21 out of 29.
Which, by the way, I am actually offended that it ranks above Avenue 5, Perfect Harmony, Sex Education,
Ed.
and Lego Masters.
And
Letterkenny. But Letterkenny has that weird gap where it's not on on Metacritic or whatever.
Yeah, Letterkenny got screwed. Not as bad as October Faction.
October Faction deserves to get screwed.
Somebody just needs to send us but who's talking about that? But yeah, no. So it's ranked pretty low, but it's kind of it sucks when you think of the stuff that's rated that it was rated higher than.
Yeah, there's everything Randy just named should beat this.
This list is really like what the internet agrees on that they like.
Yeah.
Oh,
Like-
God, that just sounds scary when you
Yeah,
phrase
the,
it.
doesn't
internet,
it?
the internet mostly agrees on what it hates.
Right.
Yeah, that's natural.
When we agree on what we like, kittens in boxes.
Yeah, yeah, sure. And Tom Hanks.
Tom Hanks.
Tom Hanks and kittens. Yeah, done. We can shut down the podcast, guys. All right. Said everything. Okay.
But now we're into the top 10.
Yeah, so Clone Wars over on Disney Plus broke the top 10. Out of that 400-point scale, 331 out of 400.
Not bad.
Yeah, that's good enough for number 9 on our list.
Which places it above Star Trek Picard, so I guess we've settled that whole Star Trek versus Star Wars thing.
It's done. It's settled. It's just over now.
I think the new battle is going to be Devs versus Star Trek Picard.
Oh, well, we shall see.
Ooh, yeah. But then breaking the top 5 is John Oliver last week tonight.
I'm kind of surprised by that, actually. I know John Oliver's beloved, but I'm surprised he's not more divisive or doesn't have a bunch of hacks, people
Just
hacking
bombing
just
out his- yeah.
review bombing
Yeah.
him, yeah.
I don't know. I think the people who frequent these sites get what he's doing, are watching it, talking about it. He's got a
now this.
349 out of 400, and that puts him number 5. So the only things higher than him, number 4, The Good Place. No question there, except
Yep.
why it's not higher.
Yep.
How I love Brockmeyer.
Yeah, how's Brockmeyer?
The
Yeah.
fuck?
But there aren't. So here's
Sorry,
the thing.
Brockmeyer's number 3. I should.
Brockmeyer's number
I'm
3, yeah.
stunned.
For the past 3 weeks, Brockmeyer's been at number 3, but there's been a Brockmeyer doping scandal, you guys.
What?
Yeah. Les, when you talked about Brockmeyer, you didn't tell us that Brockmeyer was a 2019 show.
Oh,
The scandal of the century, you guys. So we have a decision to make from Mr. Platt about our rankings here,
Well,
which is,
Technically, it's when it showed up on Netflix, right?
well, that's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
So,
Or Hulu.
or I was going to say when we
Hulu,
watch
yeah.
it.
Yeah.
So it was end of last year,
Yeah.
but we didn't watch it till the beginning of this year. obviously we're not going to rank it with what we watched last year.
Nope.
I think it's perfectly acceptable to leave it on here.
I
I think
agree.
we'll wait for Oliver Platt to say
Yeah.
silence is agreement, right?
Yeah,
See what-
sounds
see what his
That's right.
lawyers are
yeah.
like.
Yeah, exactly.
But then our number 2 show, BoJack Horseman.
Yeah.
Another internet favorite. And then, number 1 is still Rick and Morty, 367 out of 400.
He's Pickle Rick, man. What are
The
you gonna do?
internet loves Rick and Morty. Rick and Morty and Tom Hanks. And
Iron-
kittens in boxes.
Ironclad top 5 we have here.
Yeah, yeah. All right, so let's move on to talk about new business. Let's talk about the shows we're going to watch this week.
What did we watch this week?
All right, so let's jump over to AMC and talk about Better Call Saul, which is back for its 5th season.
Yeah, season
Yeah.
5. Let me
And we're
double check. I wrote it
fully
down
now.
somewhere.
I'm behind on Better Call
Yeah.
Saul, but we're fully dovetailed into some stuff about Breaking Bad.
Oh,
Like,
no,
Gus
season
Fring is-
5's kind of... Oh, well, yeah.
Gus Fring is
sorry.
Gus Fring is heavily involved. Hector Salamanca is in his chair. We have not yet seen Hank. We haven't seen Hank. We haven't seen Walt. Or does Hank show up in episode 3?
Oh. You
Okay,
can tell by my face, Randy.
So there's 3 episodes. There are 4 episodes out as we record this. I have a chance.
Yeah.
I've had a chance to watch 2. Kyle's watched 3. There's going to be a few spoilers for me as well. Apparently, one of the spoilers is Hank shows up in episode 3.
Yeah, well, and the...
Dean Norris,
All
right?
of the... Yeah. Him and his partner...
Oh, that guy. Love that guy.
Yeah, what's his name?
And Dean Norris is an actor that I either find absolutely fantastic, like how the fuck are you not winning an Emmy,
Yeah.
or he's terrible. Like,
Breaking-
I've seen
yeah,
him in some
for
shows
sure.
where I'm like, oh, this is not agreeing with you, sir.
Breaking
Yeah.
Bad was the perfect place for him. So, and he's going to be great in Better Call Saul. I have no doubt that he'll be great in this.
Yeah. And, you know, what you were saying about how it's crossed over with Breaking Bad, at the end of season 4, we finally got the turn where he's like, no, I'm Saul
He's Saul
Goodman
now. Yeah.
Yeah, so this season is kind of like season 1 of Better Call Saul.
Yeah.
Where I really love that we got those 4 seasons where we kind of saw, you know, how he went,
How Jimmy fell down
Yeah.
this far.
Yeah.
Yeah.
why you would go from, oh, my brother's a really successful lawyer and I want to be a lawyer.
Yep.
I could use my name for it, to I don't want to have anything to do with this name.
There was something really well handled and beautiful about how they did his arc of showing. I really believed that this was a guy as Jimmy who
Yeah.
wanted to be a good lawyer
He
and
wa- yeah.
didn't want to be slip. He didn't want to be slipping Jimmy.
wanted to be Slippin' Jimmy anymore, but-
he really wanted to be his brother. He idolized his brother, and the worst of it is he was a good lawyer. He's
Yeah.
damn good at it.
Yeah.
and still he can't catch a break.
Well, it's so-
fuck all of it.
It shows how the system doesn't matter. You're encouraged to stay in the place you were. If you're low income, it's tough to escape that. If you were a guy who you were Slippin' Jimmy, everyone is going to assume you're Slippin' Jimmy, including your brother, and it's hard to get out of that.
Because the turn where, I mean, at least as far as I had seen, season 3 or so, you could see the turn happening of like, you know what, fuck it, I'm slipping Jimmy then.
Yeah.
And like you knew he was heading towards Saul.
You
Yeah.
know, slight segue here. This is why hipsters move to other cities. And every time you meet somebody new to the city, you're like, wait, somewhere else from here. There was a guy from Memphis who I lived with, all right? He had a reputation, all right? He did some unsavory sexual things. I don't think he ever did anything abusive to a girl, but he dated on the young side and just... He was kind of a, not sleazy, but he had a reputation for just being, you know, kind of that kind of guy. I'm on my Instagram the other day. He lives in Austin now.
Yeah.
I try to like hit him up. He totally doesn't get back to me. Guess who? Guess what? Well, actually, I won't tell you what mutual friend we have on Mike because then it might get there. But we have a mutual friend with him, and she's like, he's lovely. I love the guy. He's great. And
Yeah.
it's like, you never got to meet the guy I got.
yeah.
And that's why he doesn't want to see you.
Yeah.
You know
exactly.
yeah.
He's a Saul Goodman, and I
There's
know the Jimmy
definitely areas
McGill.
people like to think that there's not any spot in the country where like everything is sewn up now and you can't go hide anywhere or anything. There are still areas of the country where you can just go move and all the neighbors you meet are also can't be back where they're from anymore.
Oh yeah. The thing I'm really enjoying though is, and it's been the heart of the show for a while, is the relationship between Ray Seahorn's Kim and Jimmy. Because now that she watched him become Saul, she is so deeply and obviously uncomfortable with it.
Yep.
But she still loves him, and she still wants to believe that he's like, even as he's like doing everything she tells him not to, like encouraging her to lie to her clients or giving out discounts to lowlives for legal or wearing flashy suits and acting like Saul Goodman. Like everything he's doing, she is deeply uncomfortable with, and she knows is wrong, and she knows it's the wrong path, but she just can't stop.
Have we seen Huel yet?
Yeah, Huel's in there somewhere, right? Did we see Huel in the I thought Huel showed up in the last season.
Yes.
Okay. He's helping him with the cell phones, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Or no, I think there was somebody who got busted and needed, or no, Huel got busted.
Huel got busted.
And then,
Awesome.
he helped him out.
Love that character.
So with Kim, this whole time, I'm like, okay, her ending's probably going to be death by some means.
Probably,
all right?
yeah.
This is the first season where I'm like, oh no, I bet she's in prison.
Yeah,
And I wouldn't be
gonna happen,
surprised if she's going to be in prison for something Jimmy did.
Jimmy did, yeah.
Or something, Jimmy Goddard did. Like,
I think you're right. I think that's totally possible.
because we got to see in previous seasons, they like playing the game. They like the con and the hustle, and
but
it's
she's
fun.
not as good at it.
Yeah.
And she's going to get caught. Yeah.
If his actual death is her killing him after getting out of prison,
They pull a layer cake.
Right.
It's just him walking out, and I got away with a pow.
right?
So the other thing that they're doing a lot of stuff with Salamancas and Gus Fring and Nacho.
That stuff is
and
tense.
It's interesting because to some extent I'm like, the thing I want that we're never going to get, I want to get Gus Fring's backstory. They've had 2 shows now to give us a backstory. They
you see a
deliberately
little
don't
bit
want
of
to
it.
do
Like in Breaking Bad, we saw him by the pool with his friend when he's legitimately just trying to cook chicken.
Well, he was important enough that the guy couldn't kill him.
Yeah.
Like he was important enough, but we don't know why. He's connected somehow. Is it Venezuela? Somehow he's connected.
Oh, that's what you want to know.
I want to know where he comes from. I want to know who he is. Is he the nephew of the governor? Like, who is he?
Oh, that's a good. See, okay, I kind of like that. That's ambiguous. When I think of who he is, I think of his lover being gunned down.
Yeah,
and just like fueled by revenge.
Oh yeah,
but
but
what
patient
fuels
as hell?
What fuels him to be which he's not even really a millionaire. He lives so humbly.
Yeah.
Okay, I guess there's a lot of stuff we don't know.
I want to know. I want to know who he was and what all that kind of stuff. So yeah,
it's this show is so consistently good.
Yeah.
We are spoiled to still have like such great television.
That said,
Uh-huh.
does it seem to you like maybe they are playing things a little slow? I mean, there's always been the complaint about Better Call Saul, and even Breaking Bad to some extent was that it had a slow pace. Breaking Bad accelerated. Better Call Saul doesn't feel like it's accelerating. It's just keeping this sort of slow, methodical tenseness.
Okay, so I have an explanation for that.
Yeah.
All right, I'm explaining a bruise on my eye. No, he's a good guy. He's a good guy. But no, what I think's going on is I think that the Saul and Kim story is kind of may not have a lot left in it.
Yeah.
But I think the Salamanca story and who's the Scorpion? What's that guy's name? From Spider-Man
Michael
Homecoming?
Mondo.
Yeah, Michael Mondo's character. Like his story. Oh my gosh, episode 3, we get this great scene.
Yeah.
I
saw episode 2.
Okay,
I didn't see
episode 2, we get that.
Because there's that scene with his dad.
So he's
super tense.
He gets to have a conversation with his dad, and you'll never guess in a million years how the conversation goes. But I'm thinking, like, have you seen the Crack House Get Rated yet?
Yes. So that's one of the things I want to bring up too.
Okay.
This is one of those things that Better Call Saul and Breaking Bad both do well is comedy.
Yeah.
This sort of Elmore Leonard, fucked up, low life comedy. The 2 guys who get the 50% off coupon and are so stupid that they decide to start committing crimes, and then there's that montage of them committing a bunch of petty offenses.
So that's episode 2?
That's episode 2. I think it's the beginning.
Oh,
and
that montage is hilarious.
It leads up to them at this not a crack house. Is it meth? Whatever they're selling.
Yeah, it's like where you buy meth.
So their system is you pay the guy the street, and then you go and you wait at the bottom of this drain pipe, and the drugs fall out.
Like a gutter.
Yeah, out of the rain gutter. And so these guys are waiting for it, and they go and they buy like 10 packages, and it gets stuck in the gutter on the way down. So like they're banging on the pipe. The woman who's up there is yelling at them to stop doing it. Next thing we see, the guy is up on a ladder trying to fix it. They're all around, and the cops show up, and everybody runs except the one guy is up on the ladder who comes down. and he's trying to play off to the cops because it just looks like a drain pipe. He's like, yeah, just fixing the drain pipe. And he bangs on it, and 10 packets of drugs fall. And I about died laughing.
That's great.
No, that was an awesome moment. The next episode, we get a little bit more of that. But something else I loved about that moment that wasn't necessarily comical, but the scene right before that where they're playing poker.
Uh-huh.
So the guy who ends up going to the drug house to take care of this,
Yeah.
they're playing poker, and it's just him and who's the main guy again?
Salamanca's dude or whatever, yeah.
Yeah, kind of like the main heavy of this season, who I am just think is
That
doing
guy's
an
scary as
awesome
fuck.
job.
He's great.
Yeah.
He's another Salamanca.
Yeah, so it's the Salamanca and then this guy, they're playing poker. This guy's got a great hand, but Salamanca's got all in, like
Yep.
just putting in. And
And he
it's just
knows
like,
better than to play the hand.
Yeah. He's like, take my money. Take my money, you know? And he doesn't play the hand. He folds. And the guy takes his money, but then he goes, no, let me see your cards. Let me see your cards. He flips the cards over, and he goes, you could have had my money, but you didn't do it. And then when the call comes in, he goes, you should take that.
Yeah.
Had he won, had he balled up, taken the money, he wouldn't have let him leave with his money.
Right.
He would have, nah, you're staying. We're playing another hand.
Oh, I don't think he was going to live through that. I thought that was the thing that's interesting. It's like Salamanca knows this guy is his underling. He can't win. He can't take all his money. So to bust his balls about he should have played it, he knows full well he couldn't play it. And it's such a dick move to be like, wow, you got no balls to play that.
Yeah, it's scary. Just every scene with that guy in there, you're just on edge.
Yeah, it's good stuff. I'm enjoying it. I'm looking forward to watching more. It's always a treat. I don't know how much longer it can go. Like Breaking Bad, how long did Breaking Bad go? 7 seasons? Does anyone remember off the top of your head?
No, I know
It
that
might
last
have
one
gone
split into 2.
8.
I think it was 8.
Oh, that's
and
right.
Season 8 was in 2 halves.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say before about the pacing, I think that the Salamanca story still has like so far to go, and the story with Mike has so far to go. But I feel like Saul's story is just kind of like butting up to where he becomes kind of the comedy, you know?
Yeah.
Like where we meet him in Breaking Bad.
Breaking Bad was 5 seasons.
Oh, wow. And that last one was just split.
7, 13, 13, 13, and 16.
Wow.
And they split that 16 into 10 and 6.
And yeah.
And we're like,
So-
it's like 12, right?
Yeah, so honestly, that's basically 5 seasons since the first season was
my
short.
gosh.
So I
Isn't
wonder if this is
season-
it on Saul.
So maybe, but they've given no indication. It'll be crazy if the prequel goes longer.
Well, it's going way slower. Like the
true.
pacing, you know,
Yeah.
they're giving themselves, they're not kind of painting themselves. Well, maybe the brilliance of Breaking Bad was that it always felt like it was the end. Maybe they could have kept going, but because every season was so tense, it always felt like it was about to end and he was going
Yeah.
to lose everything.
Yeah.
All right.
wild
yeah,
stuff.
it's a great show.
I can't wait to see where that falls into the rankings when we record next week.
It's not as good as The Hunters, I'm telling no.
So let's switch to another AMC show and talk about Dispatches from Elsewhere.
All right. Kyle.
Ooh.
Now, I came to this very differently than Kyle did. So,
Yeah.
Randy, you've not gotten to watch it
I
yet.
did not get a chance to watch this one.
All right. Kyle, how did you even know the show existed?
All right, so I'm going to start this. Les tells me, and Randy, before we start watching the show, hey, there's a documentary about what's going on here. All right, it's really interesting. You're not going to believe it. You should check out this documentary and then watch the show. Well, I don't get around to the documentary. I just watch the show, and I'm like, holy.
I was kind of glad you did
Crap,
because
what
that
is
means we
going
came at
on?
it opposite directions.
Yeah,
I can't
and-
unwatch the documentary.
And now that I've seen 2 episodes of the show, I'm like, no, I'm waiting until the very end before I watch this documentary because the show seems so magical not knowing what's going on.
So the first episode
Yeah.
is very much like the documentary, like the stuff that happens to Jason Segel's character. So, Dispatches from Elsewhere is an AMC show.
I know. How do we even give a preface for this?
It's about an alternate reality game that this guy signs up for. His life is, you don't quite know what is exactly wrong with Segel's life, but something fucking awful happened.
Okay.
I mean, he makes at one point, he says something about like not having any photos at all. Like, I don't know if his house burned down or light, but something really bad happened to him. And he's a very nervous, scared guy. And he joins this alternate reality game, like a flash mob type thing to try to have some fun, like a meetup. Mm-hmm. And it's pretty neat. And he gets put with a group of like 3 other people, and you can't quite tell if it's real or not. Like, it's a game. Obviously, it's a game.
It is definitely done by like some Greenwich Village
it's very much like a
artists,
San Francisco
like,
art happening kind of game thing, but
and very cool and mystical. And I don't know if the actual game was as nice as the show, but the show is
the
just
actual
like
game is astonishing.
oh my gosh, it's like who's the guy who did killing me. The Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
Yeah, it's Michael. It's like a
Michel Gondry
game.
Like, yeah.
The show is about this guy who very much needs some kind of wonder in his life again, trying to find that. And this game is very much about trying to get you to recognize magic in the world or have some sense of fun. And then you've got these 4 characters that are in it for their different reasons and need this for their various reasons. You've got Siegel's character. You got Simone, who is a trans girl that is also in the game. Sally Field's character, Janice, I believe. She's the focus of episode 3.
Which I can't wait to watch.
And then you've got Andre 3000, who is Fredwin. And they're all in it for slightly different reasons. Like, Janice is a widower, basically, who needs this to get... She's trying to reconnect with the world again. Siegel needs something. Simone needs something. Fredwin genuinely doesn't believe it's a game and thinks it is a giant conspiracy.
This is the government.
And he does a couple of nutty things really fast early on that are like, oh shit, dude, if you're just trying to do a game, this is what would go wrong. You would have somebody who would like throw themselves in the trunk of the car as it drives off and like crazy shit. So the show itself really captures that whimsy, and like watching Siegel's character get into it, it's a very I Heart Huckabees adorable kind of vibe.
I got a big I Heart Huckabees
and I'm really loving
this.
It.
Yeah. The whole thing, because it feels like they're learning about themselves and how they're connected, and that's definitely how the show approaches it, is it wants you to show, like, this is what each of these people are missing, and this is how this kind of wonder and this fantasy can fill that for them. And I thought it was really fascinating how Andre 3000 and Sally Field's character, they think, like, one way about this whole thing, like, oh, the one side must be good and these must be bad.
And that's really what
the game's and then Simone and Siegel's characters are like, no, we think, isn't it the other ones that are good?
So
like,
the game they enter is ostensibly, like, Siegel sees this flyer on a poster that's for, like, a personal force field or psychically talking to dolphins and, like sign up for this project. And there's, like, tear and take one. And they're just crazy. They're fucking crazy inventions. And so he gets sucked into this whole game, and it's all really whimsical, crazy shit like this, right? And it's all done by the Jejune Institute, which is this amazing institute that's trying to get all these things done and further the amazing benefits of humanity. And they have a lead designer, basically named Clara, who has invented most of their really amazing stuff.
Okay.
And Clara is missing. And come to find out, like, the longer you play the game, the Jejune Institute is lying to you, and they are nefarious and terrible, and they are the corporate stooges that are trying to take everything good from Clara and mass produce it and Walmartize it, basically. and so the Elsewhere Society and Commander 14, they are the resistance, and they are looking for Clara, who is missing, and you have to help. And so, depending on whether you get split off into one group or the other, like, you come out of it thinking the Jejune Institute is the heroes. And the Elsewhere Society are nut jobs, or you think the Elsewhere Society is great. But either way, like, you're both just being played, like, you're being played against each other, and it's all to keep the game churning. And the fun thing that they can do with the television show is really play with whether or not this shit's happening.
Yeah.
Because I can't stress enough, they did this game to people. 10,000 fucking people went through this game.
Jesus.
I don't know.
I'm like, how you didn't get lost and stuff. Like,
there's
how
some
people didn't actually hurt each other.
Somebody got
this.
lost in some tunnels underneath a building. Some people went into the wrong building and, like, broke in and were sure that something was there, and they were in the wrong building just yelling at shit. And, like, some stuff did go wrong. They're also part of the really hard to watch and brilliant part of the documentary is what they have to do when they have to admit to people that this is a game. It has to be a game. But at some point, it's so well done that they really do have to land this ship, and you can't. You can't land this. It is actually so magical. And the fact that, like, at some point you have to go, cool, guys, thanks for playing. And in the documentary, you can see them realize, like, shit, we're like a month past that point where we could have stopped. And now people are going to be genuinely angry, like really angry. And people really were. But the room he goes to, like at the start of it, Jason Siegel he goes to this secret address, and they give him a key, which instructions. and like you're supposed to turn around 3 times in the hallway. Like it's ridiculous. And you get to this room and you open the door and there's nothing in there except like a chair, and it's decorated crazy ornately. Like there's no people in there. And you sit down in the chair and the lights change and a movie comes on explaining to you that you have been chosen to be part of this, and that next to you are these cards that you have to fill out with your info, and then written on the back of each card in lipstick is "run."
Get out of here.
And like,
they're lying to you.
They're lying to you. And then like the 4th card says, Randy, run.
Jesus.
And like they did that to like that exact
That's so
experience.
crazy.
They did that to people. So when Siegel, there's an LA Times article I'd sent Kyle. When Siegel went to do this show, he did the same thing I did. He saw the documentary on it and went, "Holy fuck, that has to be a TV show." And so he started trying to call people from the documentary, because the documentary is by Jeff Hull is in it. He's the guy that actually did this game, and he's a producer of Dispatches as well as I think Stephen McCall, who directed the documentary and is also a producer. But when Siegel reached out to them, he tried to call people from the documentary that were players, because there's a lot of interviewed players, right?
Yeah.
Everybody just hung up on him. No one would talk to him. And then like a week later, his phone rang from an unknown number and gave him an address to go to, and they led him down like a days-long scavenger hunt.
Do you want to play a game?
Where like he had to do a bunch of tests and crap before they would then talk to him about the show.
Oh my God.
And so like I pretty much got to do this. I'm gathering that he got to be the one to do this show because he passed their stupid tests.
I have this running group I'm a part of that I can't really talk about, because they do the exact same thing. Like you have to come to 5 of the running meetups before you get like a code name, and then after that, everybody can tell you like their code names and stuff. Yeah, it's hash harriers. Hey, what are you doing? No, I'm kidding. You can talk about it.
I knew of that, but not like that's some crazy like.
It's a little like this, but everybody very much knows it's a game when you get there, and like you pay $5 and there's beer at the end, like. But it's kind of the same thing where you're running around doing a scavenger hunt in a city, making new friends, lots of different walks of life with people, which is how I imagine this game probably went, is you have a lot of like young, old, rich, poor, different races.
For whatever reason that your world's kind of gone grayscale, and that you need to be reminded of like little kid wonder. And that is the express purpose of this game. And then to turn it into this show. So when I heard it was going to be a show, I was like, holy fuck, this is this documentary I've been trying to get people to watch for like 3 years, because you can't believe they did this for no profit, really. There's no money to be made here.
This is like a TED grant.
Seriously, this is just you did the best art project I could think of. And so when I heard it was going to be a show, I was thrilled. Like, let's see if they get any. I was actually really nervous, and then I saw Jason Segel was in charge of it, and was like, okay, Muppet dude, let's do it. And so I was so happy when I got done with the first episode and was just sold. Like they get the vibe. Getting Richard E. Grant to be Octavio is so great.
He's really good.
He's perfect. I would recommend people go out and just they've chopped off just the opening of the first episode where he introduces things, and they do a lot of fun storytelling conventions. Anytime Siegel's at work, you don't meet his coworkers, and you don't get bogged down in any kind of office drama, because his job is completely unimportant. It's the reason his life is part of the reason his life's so boring. So when he's at work and a coworker comes over to his desk, the coworker's lines are work stuff, work stuff, work stuff, work stuff, work stuff,
Work stuff.
work stuff,
Work stuff.
work stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
Work stuff.
And that's it. And like at the start of it, I think Richard Grant comes on screen and is like, imagine that you are Jason Segel's character. You know what? We're going to get you. I want to
Very
value
Twilight
your time.
Zone-y.
Yeah. He's like, I want to value your time. And so I think we're going to show you his origin in just under 2 minutes, and I think you'll really get who he is. And then like snaps his fingers, and they just run through this montage. He's like, there. That was a good use of your time. Now we can move on into the show. Like, I couldn't be more sold on Dispatches. I think everybody should go watch The Institute. It's free on Tubi TV, Tubi, which is one of the many free apps. The Institute is what it's called. And Dispatches from Elsewhere is great on AMC.
One of the other things I love about this show is the visual style of it. We talked about a little bit. They have this thing, I can't think of any other better description besides just the God camera, where they will go from a scene that looks like a normal TV show, there's depth of field, there's a person, in the foreground, background. And then like at the end of a scene or at the start of like a narration or something like that, they will go to this wide shot, almost like home movie style with the contrast bumped up, where you can see
not a TV camera, like a home camera vibe.
Yeah, like everybody in the scene, characters that were outside of the frame that you didn't even see there before. It's like the characters go on with their life, but like no longer know that we're watching them.
If the main
it's really
camera of a
eerie
sitcom
and
just
kinda
suddenly shifted to like a behind the scenes cam, like
Right.
you had a camcorder running the whole time, and like every once in a while you just drop back out of a scene and then that guy runs off and follows someone. It really works beautifully.
It's really pretty, yeah. No, you'd think that'd be gimmicky, but no, it works great.
I talking about weird streaming services. I signed up for a free trial of Philo just so I could watch all three of these.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm loving this show.
So let's talk Altered Carbon over on Netflix.
Ooh.
So before we get too deep into this, I fell down on my TV duties this week. I did not watch all the homework, even though I'm usually assigning the homework.
I know, and you're usually so much better than me.
But I was like, okay, nobody else is going to have watched this. So you can probably scoot it out a week. Kyle, you were on this. So I saw literally half of the first episode. And I loved Altered Carbon Season 1. I was super excited for this. I just couldn't find time to binge it.
I didn't love it, but I watched the first two of Season 2. I like Anthony Mackie a lot better than Joel Kinnaman. I like Joel Kinnaman, but I was excited to have Mackie and that Poe is back.
But Kyle, you watched this whole damn thing.
Yeah, and I've been thinking about it this whole time. I think I can kind of describe it without really ruining anything for you guys, because there was a lot of stuff that they touched on in the first season, which I didn't get all the way to the end of the first season. I tried to catch up a little bit before this, but I think I'm probably, besides the finale, I think I only watched the first 5 of the first season. So there's a few I missed.
Okay.
But there's some concepts in this season that they played with that I thought really blew my mind.
So the thing about Altered Carbon, it is a cyberpunk novel that's been translated into Netflix TV, and it is set in a sort of a kind of a distant future.
Yeah.
Where basically they have what's called your stack, which is your personality, your brain, who you are on a computer chip, and they can put that into what they call a sleeve, which is your body.
Yeah.
So your body's replaceable. You can just put your stack in any sleeve, and if you're rich, you can be in whatever body you want.
And it's still, when I started Season 2, it took me a minute again to remember their slang term for rich immortals is terrible.
What is it?
Meths.
Oh, that's right.
Meths.
Yeah.
They kept saying that.
So they're
Yeah.
Methuselahs.
Who the hell-
They're Methuselahs is what
But
they're.
meth is.
But meth is already taken.
It means a thing. It
Yeah.
means a
It
different
already
thing.
means a thing.
Yeah, that makes sense because I had forgotten that and I was having a little trouble with that. But they also have.
So because you can change out your stacks, we're going to start calling them whoars. So like
They're whoars.
Yeah, what whore are you?
But the Takashi
that's
Kovacs,
everything.
our main character, is what's called an envoy. And he's like the last envoy.
The last envoy.
And the envoys are these special ops who could basically.
In a world of awful names, they have the last envoy, the one cool name.
Yeah. So you can drop your stack into any body and be combat ready in like 10 minutes.
Because there is a real dissociative identity problem. Like you can have a serious mental break by just like dropping your stack into a sleeve. And like
Right.
you're not supposed to have a mirror anywhere near you for the first few days.
Right.
Like there's a lot of problems. And he's got all this fucked up training to like grit his teeth and like slam his personality into this new face.
Yep.
Because there's both the physical and there's this mental component.
Yeah.
Which you might be getting to.
No, I wasn't.
Okay, yeah, no. Then there's this whole other side, which is that the mental component of their stack can exist inside this virtual world.
Right.
And then existing both within the virtual world and within the physical world are these AI computer programs.
Poe.
Like Poe, his butler sidekick.
Oh, man, I'm so glad Poe
I'm so glad
dragged
Poe
to the
made it through the.
hotel.
Oh my God! If Poe, honestly, I don't know that I'd have been nearly as thrilled about a season 2 if Poe weren't back.
Yeah, the way they were introduced Poe, by the way, I love that basically he's like talking to somebody at the bar, and the real bartender comes over and goes, "Get out of here! You don't work here." And she's like, if I find that emitter, I'm going to smash it. And we come to find out that Poe's not even supposed to be there. Someone has a hologram emitter,
Yeah.
and it turns out it's Takashi. And
Yeah,
he just
he's
carries
got
it
a
around.
necklace on his now that is Poe. Because I was like, how do you carry him? They make it back to the hotel, I think, in the first or second episode, and he's like, which is the Raven, I think, is what it was
Raven,
originally called. And he's like, maybe it
Nevermore.
should be called the Nevermore. Yeah, because it's just falling the fuck apart now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Poe was my favorite thing in the first season, and I'm really digging.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
and he got a great story this season. So essentially, he's got corrupted data, and
Okay.
he's glitching out.
Yeah.
So like every 10 minutes, he goes full memento, and he can't remember shit, and he has to start over. And Takashi is just getting really pissed, and is like, you gotta get your shit together. And in the second episode, was it where they introduced the support program?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So in the second episode, do you guys remember the wife in John Reacher season 1, the terrorist's wife? Jack Reacher season 1.
Jack Ryan.
Jack Ryan
Ryan.
season
I was
1.
like, those are movies. Yeah.
Dang it. All these blend together. No, Jack Ryan season 1 on Netflix, the wife
Amazon.
of the on Amazon. The wife of the I'm an awful TV dude. This actress is phenomenal. She's in other stuff you can find on Amazon. But no, they bring in this actress who's kind of like a Laura Croft archaeologist who is this support program, and she is trying to help Poe to like fix his programming without having to like delete all of his reboot and lose
and
all
from
of
a
his
save point,
memories.
yeah.
And everything. And you find out Poe has some memory on him of like a friend who made him feel like more than just a computer program at one point, and he's scared of losing this memory, so he doesn't want to reboot. But Takashi, once the support program shows up, he's like, "Hey, I just need an AI to help me, so you're hired."
Yeah.
And he tells Poe to hit the road. And then Poe has to like prove himself. So this whole season is very much Poe-centric. And you get this great story where you're like, oh no, the AIs are also like living beings and they exist. But just like, where people don't value like human bodies because you can get a new body, they don't value the AIs even though they develop these complex personalities and have feelings too. Another crazy thing about this world is we see a character who has a kid who's in a stack that's on rent, that she's having to pay off her kid's stack. So her kid got into an accident and was going to die, and so she went indebted so she could, have her child alive, like something that would happen in this world. Something else kind of crazy that you see later on in the season, which I don't think I'm really spoiling anything, not given the context, but they're doing this interstellar travel, and they're colonizing planets using the stack as a way to do that. Also, I think they made some mention to like freezing their bodies in order to do interstellar travel. But you get to see a group that pretty much breaks the Prime Directive, shows up at a planet and is like, fuck the sentient life here, and, just does a quick genocide on our planet now.
Which, again, would happen.
Yeah, exactly. Oh my gosh. The Circle. Have you guys?
No, I haven't gotten to that.
Okay. So we get to the kind of the technology in this season, and I'm not sure how this was last season, but they can clone stacks now.
Well, so in the first season, they had a guy who...
Or clone sleeves.
They had a guy who illegally had himself in 2 sleeves, they found out.
Okay.
So he was not a bounty hunter. He was a criminal that, like gun runner type guy, that it just impossible to end him because they knew he had illegal dupes. They just out there.
So they're in this world because like people don't value the bodies and because you can't die. Like fear is like this drug. So everybody like gets off on seeing like violence and like anything that will take them to the edge of being scared or grossed out or something. So the ultimate punishment in this Harlan's world, if you're like found guilty, is you have to do the circle, which means you have to fight a series of people who have all been put into the bodies of your loved ones from your memories.
Oh, man.
Yeah, so here is Takashi Kovacs, who has to fight, I forget who it was, but it was like his friend, his sister. I'm imagining characters from season 1 that I missed. Like each one of them one by one until you get to the very end, and then it's Falcrest or...
Quillcrest.
Quellcrest.
Falconer.
Quell, the seaweed. That's what her name is.
And this season, of course, he's Anthony Mackie, which is not just a human body. Like Mackie's...
Oh, he's got
like,
upgrades.
He's got like
He's
powers
way
and stuff.
upgraded.
Yeah. He can like summon guns. So it makes this really cool combat trick where like guns are just like popping into his hand magnetically. You also find out that the villains, where the sleeve was acquired from, they have some control over his sleeve. So, like, at one point, he's fighting the villains, and they turn off his ability to fire. So, like, he can hit them and stuff, but he can't shoot the gun.
Which, again, the ramifications of having tech and stuff.
Yeah, so he's fighting with one of the other characters, and he's, like, tossing because he can grab the gun, so he's, like, magnetically getting the gun, then tossing it to her so she can shoot it.
Because he can't fire.
Yeah, and meanwhile, the bad guy's fighting both of them simultaneously. Is pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to have to watch the rest of this.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to watching the rest of it.
Yeah.
I just haven't got around to it yet.
And I got to say, Anthony Mackie's star rising has just been a wonderful thing the last few years. I really like that actor.
Yeah,
and
sure.
seeing him just get more and more roles is fucking great.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to Falcon Winter Soldier later this year.
Indeed.
If that is anything like this, it's going to be awesome.
Well, he does have the 2 tiny guns.
Yeah, it does.
All right. Well, that will do it for us this week. Thank you, Les. Thank you, Kyle.
Thank you, Randy.
And we will be back next week with more. And until that time,
TV Dudes out. TV Dudes is an independently run podcast out of Austin, Texas. We are exclusively listener-supported. If you'd like to help us out, go to patreon.com/TVDudes.
You can also find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at TV Dudes. All the music for our show is done by our friend and original TV Dude, Gregory J. Amani Smith.
to find out more about us, go to thetvdudes.com. I'm Randy Lander.
I'm Les Weiler.
And I'm Kyle Scott.
Thanks for listening.